We live in Brooklyn, baby. We live in Brooklyn, baby.
Welcome back, folks. Insanity Check back at you.
Yes, Skillet Sauce, Ken, 8. We're here on Insanity Check Radio. This is okay. Well. There's a lot of there's so many interesting things that's been happening in the news, and I purposely
non-cannibalistic ones.
No wild craziness like that. Skin peeling. I mean, there's some nonsense going on with this whole Syrian thing, but like I said 2 shows ago, last show, I don't really want to get into that. I want that to play itself out first, because now it's just a whole bunch of posturing and speculation rather than a whole bunch of nonsense like that. So until something actually happens, I believe on the 9th, I really don't want to touch upon that, but it is something to monitor. But we've had a lot of interesting things happen. We had over the weekend, the Labor Day weekend, which is kind of funny leading into this particular story, because we just celebrated Labor Day and we had the Labor Day parade here. There was numerous shootings as usual. I understand so there was some gang-related nonsense to where somebody was trying to kill this man and shot a 1-year-old girl in her head instead. That's why I didn't go out, because fools don't know how to act on this particular weekend. We had a bunch of kids get hopped up on some Molly, and a few of them dropped dead at on Randall's Island. There was a big rave concert out there, which I think was it was sad, because obviously the loss of life, but it was kind of messed up because they canceled the whole thing. So for those 2 people that decided to take drugs, they ruined it for a lot of other people that I guess either didn't take drugs.
Take lots of drugs.
They took a lot. Yeah, the guy said he took six hits of Molly.
That was the chick.
The chick took 6 hits of Molly. Yeah.
Tweeted, because of course you must tweet everything you do.
Yeah.
I just took 6 fucking hits of Molly, and as I understand it, Molly is pure X without. It's pure. Unfiltered, tainted, no extra shit, no chemicals or nothing, just pure X.
Yeah, I don't know about no drugs. I guess that's what it is.
That's what I was told that it is. 6 of them bitches she took.
Well, now she
pleased with herself.
She took one for every foot under the ground her ass is.
Exactly.
6 feet under the ground, and basically what happened, they canceled the thing, and a lot of people were very upset. Because and as an older person, I to cover my bases, if I were the organizer, I might have done the same thing. Probably would have done the same thing, because you don't know if it was bad drugs out there that might, the last thing you want is to have, from the promoter's standpoint, 2 deaths and the show still goes on, like you don't really give a hoot.
Now, was it him who did it, or it was at the behest of the fucking police? Because that's what I heard.
However it happened, it had to be canceled. But I know the actual patrons, the other people, they were just very much upset, because some people had paid ridiculous amounts of money.
$180 fucking dollars.
$400 another person had paid, and then traveled and all sorts of stuff. And the person was being a little callous. It was a 19-year-old girl, and a quote, she was like, I didn't take the drugs, you did, and why should I pay because you were stupid enough to take drugs and kill yourself? But that's just one of the things that happened in this weekend. And also, there was some kind of Freemason drug orgy shit going on at the feds busted. I don't know.
It was barely an orgy.
Yeah, didn't they have some shit like that at the end of one of those Da Vinci movies? What was the one where the dude kept whipping his back? Was that the first one or second? I'm really not fans of
the first one. That was
where they was doing something. Yeah, and they was doing something. Fucking some broad down into some basement or some cellar or something like that.
Probably has a flashback.
I don't know. Whatever. But so there was some kind of Freemason cult shit going on that the feds busted. And then ongoing, and that's why I mentioned Labor Day, the fast food workers finally put the spatula and the patty down and drop the bag of fries and started to protest because they're not being paid a living sustainable wage. And there's been protests all over the country. And so there was a few in New York, and since we're in New York, I'm talking about that one. It says American fast food workers often earn about $7.25 an hour. We touched upon this before. To make the $3 chicken sandwiches and 99-cent tacos that generate billions of dollars in profit each year for McDonald's and other claims.
99 cents for a pound of beef.
A pound, which is, anybody knows anything, that they literally scraped some meat off of a horse's ass. Literally, they had to shave some meat off a roadkill or something like that. How you gonna get a pound of quality meat for $1? Come on, you can't even really get a big bag of potatoes for $1 anymore. It's like $1.49 now. It's ridiculous. Thousands of the nation's many millions of fast food workers and their supporters have been staging protests across the country in the past year to call attention to the struggles of living on or close to the federal minimum wage. The push raises the question of whether the economics of the fast food industry allow room for a boost in pay for its workers. The industry is built on a business model that keeps costs, including those of labor, low so companies can make money while satisfying America's love for cheap fast food. And no group along the food chain, from the customers to the companies, want to foot the bill for higher wages for the workers. People making $15,000 a year before taxes. How is anyone supposed to
Before taxes.
I really don't understand how anyone can. It's my opinion that I believe that we're being placed in a situation where we all have to look towards being in the service industry, and we've touched upon that several times during this show, during past shows, with links and everything leading to statistics saying that certain types of jobs have been destroyed, and the ones that are being created. I think they have one actually in this article.
Yeah, it says nearly 70% of the jobs gained since the recession ended, if that's true, have been in low-paying industries such as fast food and retail. That's even though half of the jobs lost during the Great Recession were in industries that pay between $38,000 and $68,000 a year.
Yeah. Okay. Currently, the median annual wage for all U.S. full-time wage and salary workers is about $40,350, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. That's based on weekly earnings of $776. The tilt towards low-wage jobs is what makes it so critical for fast food and retail jobs to provide better pay, says Robert Reich, an advocate for workers who serve as labor secretary in the Clinton administration. It's impossible for the economy to run on all four cylinders unless consumers have enough purchasing power to keep the economy going, he said. Still, raising wages for fast food jobs means figuring out where the money would come from.
I'm sorry, and that would explain the situation, because this is fairly incredible to me. Not really, but fairly incredible to me. There's a gentleman named Robert Wilson. Robert Wilson is a 25-year-old McDonald's employee in Chicago. He was never on a consistent check, he said, Wilson, who lives with his mother and brother, also who work at the restaurant. Wilson said he was given a 10-cent raise in the past 4 years, which brings his pay up to $8.60 an hour after 7 years of working in the restaurant. 7 years.
7 years.
10 cents.
10 cents. To get him to the point to where he only has to steal like half a bag of food that day instead of a full bag of food. Really? Seriously?
The article goes on to say that more than 90% of McDonald's and Burger King locations in the U.S. are owned by franchises, who they have to worry about making rent, buying supplies, paying workers, and shelling out royalties and fees to their parent companies for the use of the name and the brand. Franchises say that they have to do this while trying to eke out a profit on a super cheap menu, items that customers are come to expect. Franchises say their profit margins are thin. They make 4 cents to 6 cents on every dollar they take in. I honestly didn't know it was that bad. And they can't afford to hike pay, particularly at the time when companies are trumpeting value menus amid heightened competition. Catherine Slater-Carter, who owns McDonald's in California, said that what franchises can pay workers depend on what the money you've got left over after the company's interfered. So basically, you have to maintain your business. And then, of course, you have to pay the McDonald's Corporation or the Burger King Corporation their fees and their royalties for being allowed to use that. Now, they said, where is that?
Which part are you looking for?
How much the fucking corporations made.
Oh, yeah, I just passed that part. You mean the billions and billions?
Yeah. Here it goes. McDonald's, the world's Burger King chain, for example, reported a profit of $5.5 billion last year.
$Billion?
With B, yeah, $1 billion. On $27.6 billion in sales. The CEO, Don Thompson, got paid a package of $13.8 million.
Okay.
They go on to say how the corporations themselves say that they have no say in the wages paid to the workers. That's not their responsibility. They don't get involved in that. Yet, of course, the article goes on to say that the corporations are very particular about what goes on in multitude of facets.
Yeah, every facet
within the fucking within the franchise, to the type of computer systems they use, the marketing tools, the marketing supplies,
the oil, literally the oil, everything.
But the one thing they can't touch is the wages.
Yeah, well, it said here workers themselves also share the blame.
Indeed.
The weak job market tilts the power in favor of employers who can easily find replacements who are willing to work for low pay. That means the ability to keep up demonstrations that capture public attention is critical. Yet organizing workers has been notoriously difficult in the fast food industry, given the high turnover rates and ranks of younger workers who see the jobs as temporary gigs. And I mean, it goes on to just, they've been doing this in St. Louis. Obviously, it came here to New York City. Do you honestly think, this will actually do anything?
No, because in the article they said that there was a protest in one of them in New York, and some of the patrons inside didn't even know that there was a protest going on outside. Yeah. The main reason why I believe this is not going to have any effect is what they just said. I mean, most people don't see fast food jobs as an end-all to be-all. They dip in, they need to pay some rent, they need to get some new clothes.
But we know that's not true. We've already covered that on the show, that even though most people don't see it that way, that's one of the jobs that is now in demand, believe it or not.
Right, but
I understand your perception going into the job, because like the last person here, this kid, Garrett Matson, a 24-year-old from Warren, Rhode Island, started working at McDonald's when he was in college and stayed on after graduation because he couldn't find another job. He earned $7.75 an hour. He said he would probably support the efforts to raise pay if it came to the restaurant where he works, but even though the job is important to him now, he doesn't consider it a career path. I don't see myself there when I'm 30, he said. That is what, that was the intent of my generation growing up. The first little job you had, or the first job that you mostly went out for, was, since I was a guy, I was able to do a messenger job or a bike messenger job or something like that, or other people went to the fast food industry and stuff like that, or worked at A&S, dating myself, A&S, Mays, McClory's, Macy's, Bloomingdale's, anything as a cashier, whatever. Mm-hmm. And it was always something to get you indoctrinated into the workforce and to get you accustomed to earning your money, managing your money, budgeting your money, and so on and so forth. But now these are the types of jobs that people that otherwise people of means and middle class and have to take. And that's the thing, we're competing.
But see, you just said it. They have to take it.
Yeah.
While they have to take it, there's still going to be thousands and thousands of teenagers who will accept $7.75 because they have zero right now.
And that is the main problem.
Right. And they still live with their parents.
Yeah, so that's weed money for those guys.
Exactly.
When it's rent money for the person that might have two kids at home.
So until the workforce, the fast food workforce gets flooded with people who need this job and are like, I'm going to work at McDonald's for the next 10 years and become a manager and eventually own my own restaurant, this is not going to work. It's just, unfortunately,
it can't work. I think this is a reflection of our society right now. I think this, I'm not saying I wouldn't protest if I were the people, because to the individual, hey, if I've been working, I want to get higher pay. But if you know that there's some kid right behind you that's like, well, you know what, hey, I'll take $7.75, dude, I'm not making anything, like you said. Those people are almost like the what do they used to call them in football? The scabs.
Scabs, yeah.
It's almost like the scabs, So it's like, what good is protesting if you have somebody that'll come right behind you and do the job? So you put no pressure on the corporation.
Not to mention the possibly illegal Latinos.
You're
who will
racist.
Swab your deck.
You're racist.
Why?
Why they got to be Latinos that's illegal? There's a lot of immigrants in this country that are not just Latin.
And they're doing these jobs, right? You see them?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
Race. Two racists up in here. You motherfuckers are racist.
Well, that's unfortunate. Anyway, speaking of money and what to do with it. Gonna drop a little levity here on you
Yeah,
folks.
this a rather grim-looking woman here, and I realize why her face looks like that. It says woman hospitalized to remove $5,000 hidden in her rectum after she stole money from her boyfriend. She had a rack in her ass. That's that's actually funny. A Tennessee woman is recovering in hospital after trying to hide $5,000 in cash inside her rectum and then trying to remove the money with a toilet brush and tongs. So you really must get this image in your head. This woman has a toilet brush, you know, that thing that looks like a prickly figure 8, you know, or what a toilet brush looks like, and tongs, trying to work a knot of money out of her ass. And apparently she's probably picked and pulled on something and ruptured something or whatever the hell. She's, well, clearly, because it says transported to Hawkins County Memorial Hospital, Black was suffering from severe bleeding after her attempts to remove the cash failed. And the police have charged her with theft of over $1,000. Now, ain't that some shit?
Now, why did she do this, ladies and gentlemen? Well, because she thought her boyfriend was going to break up with her and kick her out of the apartment. And so she was like, well, you know what? I'm going to need some startup money to get my life going again. So, and apparently he set her up because he suspected that she was stealing from him.
Yeah.
So she left a sum total of $5,000 in a bag on the table. She went for the bait and crammed this shit up her ass where and then she copped to it. See, that's the what I understand. You went to the trouble of shoving this shit up your ass, and now you're getting questioned about it, and then you're like, okay, yeah, I did it.
I did it. Yo, but, you know, I kind of like the fact that he put it on a foosball table. So, you know, they you know, he had to get a little foosball in it. That's fucking stupid. Yeah, but at this point, you said, you know, when he confronted her, she vomited and vomited up a plastic bag containing partially dissolved pills. What the fuck?
Oh, boy.
Hey, is that a call for us?
Probably not.
Oh, I thought it was a call for us. See, man, you people never call. Actually, we didn't even give him the number. But, you know, like you said, she admitted to it. But the whole thing is, why not just go straight to the hospital when you realize that, you know, it was a bad idea? Because you're using, look at what she was using. It's not like she decided to go get like some serious laxative or suppositories or something like that. No, she goes with, first of all, or second of all, that toilet brush is contaminated with whatever kind of filth and disease and germs and everything that's on it. Why would you even think to put that up your ass? Listen, and that's a big fucking thing.
If you're going to stuff dirty money up your ass, yeah, I assume it was in some plastic container. I
would hope that she rolled it up or something, but, you know, I mean, she rolled it up tight enough it could simulate a penis or whatever.
Honestly, we're not talking about brainiacs here.
I mean, a toilet brush, man, that is not something. I mean, then it's prickly.
I don't think she used there's no way. It was the handle, ladies and gentlemen. She used the handle.
You just assume she used the handle.
I'm going to assume that she used the handle.
And the
I think this would have ended a lot worse had she not.
Well, I mean, she got the severe bleeding, so I'm thinking maybe she got the severe bleeding because she tried to jam that big end, and maybe she was trying to use the tongs against the big end.
Pretty sure if you jam a stick handle up your ass in desperation to get something out of it, you're going to fuck something up.
So she fucking Louimed herself.
Yeah, basically.
What an idiot. I mean,
Abner Louima, who was anally raped by New York PD with a plunger handle back in the day.
Yeah, well, they got the
New York's finest.
Yeah, well, they got the dough, they got the bread, they got the scratch, they got it back, man.
That's great. What was the other story that we were going to
do? Which other story? I told you it was the Cornel West.
Yeah.
Well, you could talk about that. I mean, because it's go ahead.
It's a video that, as many of you probably know, this was the 50th anniversary of the March on Washington, led by the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King,
who had a dream.
That a black jackal would be president one day.
I'm pretty sure that wasn't part of the dream.
Well, that's what it turned into. Just keeping it real. So of course, you know. many of the blacks and people in general, we went down to Washington to celebrate and the event, the 50 years, to commemorate the 50-year anniversary of that event. And Cornel West was interviewed by, and of course, as we talked about this, it always has to be some internet news organization, and not even an organization, it's probably just a dude with a website, like some people around here we know.
To capture some real news.
Yeah. Basically, Cornel West, he didn't use the actual term, but he said Al Sharp. He said there's no black leadership.
Yeah, no, he used the term. He said House Negro.
Right.
Yeah,
which of course means house nigga. To the Obama administration, saying that. What terrible things did he say about Obama?
Well, no, he was basically saying it wasn't terrible thing. He was telling the truth. He said, they went up there and basically just, whitewashed over everything and glossed over everything and basically gave you that whole religifying type of sermon. Oh yeah. But without getting to the topics of, what about basically the job situation?
Right.
What about the
drones?
The drones? What about this illegal surveillance? Mm-hmm. Those are things that people. What about the Syria shit? These are things that people need to talk about. But instead, you're going up there, giving people, whatever buzzwords to get them all, cheering and all the rest of this kind of stuff without touching anything real. And he was saying, Al Sharpton, he called him a house Negro because basically, because he said he didn't question anything that Obama does. He didn't bring up anything. He didn't question anything. And he said, and that was the whole thing. There's a saying like, when master's sick, the slave is sick. We sick.
Yeah, we sick.
We sick. We got a cold. We not feeling good. So he's like, well, basically, Al Sharpton is basically, going along with everything. And he said he can't stand, hypocrisy in that whole thing. Whereas he wanted to talk about racism. He said, you're going to cite, and this is what I thought was very interesting. He said, Obama was all about, racial profiling and racism, stuff like that with the Trayvon Martin case. But then he goes and appoints Kelly. And Kelly is the dude that even though the stop and frisk thing, they were like, the Supreme Court was like, this is illegal, you really shouldn't do this. He was like, oh, no. Despite all the statistics that we've given you on this show, raw data, not our opinions about, how they can search as many, the disproportionate amount of minorities get searched, but they still yield more illegal paraphernalia and or drugs from the small amount of white population that they do search. Kelly still was like, no, you're going to make the streets unsafe. This is a good thing. We need to push forward with it. So he's like, well, how can you have one of the pioneers of racial profiling in modern memory in New York City? Well, not pioneers, like the poster child of racial profiling in New York City. After you said what you said about the Trayvon thing, so he's like, it's double speak. And Al Sharpton, of all people, should have known better and didn't call Obama to task for it. So, so Cornel West was quite upset. I mean, you're going to obviously, check the video. And what he said, when you see the video, he's just sitting down and somebody is just interviewing him probably with a cell phone camera for all I know. And it's something like that should give coverage. But he's been very critical of Obama, for a while now.
And other Negroes on the radio and television have been critical of Cornel West. Being critical of fucking Obama.
Of course,
because you're not supposed to do that. And you're just not supposed to do that.
And why not? My thing is, why not? If just because he says brother or what, he has an eccentric look or whatever, doesn't change the fact that, what's up with them drones? Seriously, no matter how you phrase it, what about that? What about this surveillance stuff on the people? What are you really doing to create sustainable jobs? What about that kind of stuff? All this other jive stepping, sand dancing, I don't care about that. I don't care how eloquent of a speaker he is. I don't care about any of that shit. That's not relevant. Fine, you have a great diction, beautiful. What about the real topics? And as long as, they're basically attacking the messenger, but not listening to the message.
Right. I mean, that's normal. I mean, that's how, and that's why we're in a situation, and we as a country, not just black people, but we as a country, that's why we're in the situation we're in now. But yeah, I mean, I just wanted to get that out there because I think it's a good video for you guys to see.
Yeah, it is.
The link is right here, so you can just click on that and go straight to it. And again, it's a little bit of
the
my
link
way.
Is right here.
Yeah, it's right there.
Right there.
It's right there.
Right there.
Cocksucker. I just wanted, and it's kind of like, it's a little bit of pat on our own backs because this dude is saying what we've been saying.
For the longest.
Sure, he ain't cussing, and he's far more educated than we are, but somehow or another, he manages to see what we see. Amazing.
Yeah. Amazing.
Anyway, folks, that again is our show.
Well, tell them where they can find us. You got to sign them up.
Well, I didn't say goodbye yet.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, this moron is putting the music on.
What, your boyfriend? How do you talk to him like that?
Oh, sorry.
Just some domestic abuse here. Anyway,
I'm sorry, Aid. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Just buy some candy and flowers. You guys will be all right. Once again, folks, you can check us out on Facebook at Insanity Check.
Yeah.
You can tweet to us at Insanity Check 12, where links to all of these stories and everything will be on later on today.
Yeah.
If you're not fucking calling for the show, don't call this goddamn station while we're on. You can also check us out at on our Google Plus page. Join our circles at Insanity Check Radio. And of course, these shows will be up, enhanced, and divinely edited by moi on our YouTube channel, Insanity Check
Radio.
And someone's on the phone,
See,
so you
I can't even get my applause because this motherfucker's on the phone.
See, trouble in paradise, folks. Trouble in paradise.
Oh, but I get the sad awe sound.
Anyway, guys, thanks a lot. We'll be back next week.
Take care.
We're trying to